Um, this will be my Ultramarines Army Showcase. Now, there are a handful of things still missing, and I might do an update to this video when I get those finished up, painted, and bought because I don't have them. So, we will first start with this showcase with um HQs, starting with captains. Um, I have a very out of focus captain right now. There we go. I have a captain in Terminator armor. He was from the Ultimate Starter box that I got. This piece is not original. The original piece broke off, and I 3D printed this before my 3D printers both broke. So he turned out really well. A lot of these are transfer sheets. All the prayer stuff were transfer sheets and stuff. The little ultra on the side right here, if you can see it, you can. It's not super great because there's a lot of glare coming from them lights. Those were something I did, and they turned out pretty well. So I was pretty happy with them. I'll set them in the background here, and we will go to the next captain, which is one of, if not one of my favorite mini, especially out of all the ones I have, the Blade Guard captain. Well, he's not a Blade Guard captain. What is it? What is he? Captain with Storm Shield, I think is what he's listed as. This one came from the Indomitus box, and I almost have that box fully painted because I've still got 10 or 20. I don't remember how many came in the box. 10 or 20 of the Necrons to still paint. I got all the characters done, but this turned out really well. I was super happy with it. I think was I only about 3 months into the hobby when I painted him? I think so, 3 or 4. I'm not quite sure, but he turned out great. I was afraid of painting this. I was very nervous on painting this, and it turned out good. The McCraig thing across the front was also another thing that I did. That was a transfer sheet I made. I put the blood effect on his sword because I was testing it out, to come and realize that Necrons don't have blood. So, oops. Oh well, it's a mini. Alright, next we go to the lieutenants. And we start with, who else but Titus? This is from the Space Marine board game box. It was the first way to get Titus, and if I remember right, it was only like sold at Target, and I wanted it, so I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'll get this. I got he was the third box of minis I bought, because I bought regular intercessors, just regular Space Marine intercessors, and Hormigons, and then right after that I bought him. So he was very early on in my painting. Explains why he doesn't have eyes, why that gold on his shoulders isn't the greatest, because I didn't necessarily know what I was doing. So I probably won't go back and repaint him just because. Maybe I'll get a second Lieutenant Titus now that GW sells them, and maybe paint him up to be a lot better and give him away or something. But on to the next lieutenant, because Titus is the only named lieutenant I have. My favorite lieutenant, you're going to find a very quick theme that I like the Storm Shield look on any Marine, but this is my lieutenant with Storm Shield and Volkite pistol. I have yet to actually use him in a game, but I'm sure that he slaps hard, leading a 6-man squad of Blade Guard vets. I'm super happy with the way he turned out. I free-handed this entirely, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It doesn't look great on this camera necessarily, but I'm pretty sure if I go back and try it again, I am much better than I used to be. He turned out great. I don't have much else to say. Again, he got the same treatment as the two captains did, the Ultra and the McCraig. Did Titus get the same treatment? Oh yeah, he did. I cut it in half because one of the things was blocked. but his was kind of a pain to deal with. So, all right, next lieutenant is just a regular lieutenant that I actually painted the line in his head wrong. It should go down further, but you know what? I'm not gonna go back and mess with it now. I feel no need to. It's okay. I'm not gonna be all upset about it. This was the second lieutenant I ever painted, and it was before I painted the captain in Terminator armor. This came from a upgrade sprue, along with his helmet did. Make sure he's in frame there. Alright, and now we get to the kit bash lieutenant I did. Now, this whole front piece, obviously his helmet, because he's got the Hogman mask, and his, I don't think his arms part of that kit bash, but those all aren't original pieces. Oh, his sword's kit bashed in as well. He turned out really great. I was really happy with him. This was my very first time really trying to use white, and like other than just like little spots. And there's some pink to it, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. I mean, I was still early on in painting. You'll probably notice that I improve in painting as we get through here. And I guess the next thing we can go with is the chaplain. This is also part of the Indominus Crusade box. I haven't done any of his prayers yet still. I might just hold off on that. I really wanted to get this like stamp kit that would have prayer writing on it, and it sold out immediately. So hopefully that comes back in stock and I can pick me up one of those. But I'm just going to hold off on doing the prayers for right now. He turned out really good. This was probably the better faces I did. Let's see if I can get it up close and get the camera to focus on it. There you go. Yeah, you can see the red eye and everything. That turned out perfect. I was so happy with that. The rib cage deal. It was great. I am super happy to eventually try to use all these units, especially the I gotta look his name up because I'm gonna mess it up every single time. Where is this? Okay, I got to figure it out. He's a judiciary, or I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna butcher it. You know what he is? He is a, if I remember right, lore-wise, he's like an apprentice to a chaplain. So he turned out great as well. It was the first time I like tried to do all these little studs back here in a different color. And I can see now it really didn't take, but you know what, I tried, and it's fine. I might go back and redo them as like a metal color, but I mean, I forgot to paint the ribcage on him. Oops. You know what? He's fine. He's fine the way he is. I don't really want to go back and repaint him. This was probably the first time I did this, like lettering stuff, and I was very nervous about that because I didn't want that to fill in. It was before I got that line panel stuff. And then we come to the Blade Guard Veteran with banner. I think that's the technical name for it. It was a lot of metallic, a lot of normal Blade Guard Veteran. I'm used to painting that, considering the fact that I have a lot of them. But, I mean, it was simple. It really wasn't that bad. This turned out great. If I remember right, I dry brushed the skeleton, and then afterwards I did the gold on the outside. So it turned out really well. Super happy with it. And I believe that is the end of all the character models. Or what I mean is all of the HQs that can lead an army. So I'll cut this real quick and then I will go get more of my minis. Okay, we will do this in order that I painted them. So we shall start first with the dreadnought. If I remember right, this took me like 13 hours of painting. These are 3D printed. Obviously that's 3D printed. I really do like how these arms actually do move. I found that very surprising. It turned out really well. I was really nervous about painting him originally just because of how big this mini is. I mean, it's a centerpiece, that's for sure. But I mean, even let's go into the coffin here. Focus, camera, focus. I mean, I did all that detail work in there, and my hand needs to quit shaking. But anyways, sorry. I did all that detail work in there. It turned out perfect. Brother, how do you even say that name? I'm not gonna try to butcher that name, and I don't know Latin, so our dreadnought will rest easy, knowing he had a good paint job. The next one, I'm actually not quite sure what got painted next, so I'll go with this one and get this out of the way. This is obviously my repulsor that is too big for the camera. There we go. So actually, this was just added on recently. The rest of it was done along with the normal stuff. I still want to add some writing there, but other than that, this turned out great. It was a lot of silver, a lot of blue. I kind of wish that I would have kept these off when painting, so I could have painted underneath and behind it first. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. I did go with the 50 cal look. I like that 50 cal a lot more than I like the Gatling gun up on top of there. Obviously, I wanted it to be a mix of heavy hitting and crowd control, and I put a bunch of rocks underneath here so it looks like it's maneuvering over an obstacle. And now on to my least favorite vehicles. The Outrider squad that came with the Indominus Crusade box. Now, they might have updated Outriders, but all of these, and I mean every single one of them, have a putty that's in the center of the Ultramarine logo, and those did not want to close. Right there, I don't know if it's just a mold. The one on the left is the one that I got the closest to closing, and they really weren't that bad to paint, honestly. Just it needs a better molding process or something. But these all turned out great. I actually just finished that didn't line up perfectly. The decals on this one and this one, and they're not perfect and square, but you know what? I'm ready to be done trying to work on these Outriders. So I will go grab the next batch, which will be the heavy infantry batch. Okay, so I got these all grabbed, and we will start with the biggest, chunkiest boys, the Centurions. Now, I do have more Centurions that I need to get put together, and they're Assault Centurions. So my original plan was to get 6 Centurions, one Gravis, one Grav Cannon Centurion, which would be this guy. He's the sergeant, obviously. The next would be 2 heavy bolter variants, and get them put together. That way they could cover the squad. And then 3 of the las cannon variants, just because las cannons are good heavy hitting, armor piercing units or weapons. My brain's not working too great today. I'm tired. Next, I said we're gonna size down, so we will go on to Terminators. This is just a little beacon for the Terminators. I don't know if that actually has like a rule where you got to place it down where the Terminators are going to come in or something. I don't know. This is my Terminator Sergeant. Now, funny story about this is this sword looks really, really good. It looks phenomenal. All right. I promise you it looks good. You can just look at it from this side. You can see how like it looks like there's energy flowing through that. I entirely did that by accident. I had paint that wasn't watery, but I went to go like clean my brush, and then I didn't take the water off of the brush, so the paint that I tried to put on here became super watery, and I kept like blowing it off from one side or to the other, and this is how it turned out. So I've just redone this with all of the Blade Guard veterans after I painted this sword, and for the most part, they turned out all really good as well. So that was a happy little accident, and I still paint my power swords like that. Here is a guy who's looks like his arm's about to. Oh, he did not get properly glued. Okay, so I gotta. Can I do it right now? Yeah, I'll just. So this is more of just my normal Terminators. I will say there are Terminators that look 20 times better than, I don't know what armor this is. I might say that I have a particular fondness of Cataphracti Terminator armor because it doesn't look like a giant hippo face on their helmet. So obviously we got more of these. Whoa, I want to drop one. I did like little things on his wrist. I tried to do yellow. I wasn't gonna do yellow, so I did red. Oh, I did do yellow. I did do yellow on those sides. Did I do yellow on these too? Nope. This one's red. That one's yellow. Ow, my wrist popped. That one's red, and that one's just silver. Okay. Oh, he's got a little chain running across there. This is the heavy. He's got a little bunch of bullets. That is part of his mini. I forgot. That came with him. That's not 3D printed. And then I did this all wonky for some reason. I don't remember why. So we get down to the last. Now, I don't know if these classify as heavies, but they're in Gravis armor, so I'm going to classify them as a... this is the Eradicator Squad from the Indominus Crusade box. So, other than that transfer sheet, and that transfer sheet looking a little rough, along with the leather. Jeez, I did not know how to do leather good when I painted these. They really weren't that difficult to paint. They're big chunky boys, but they're not as big and chunky as the Centurions there in the back. All right, I will go grab. I believe I will be going to grab all the close quarters. So this next batch will be not a short batch. All right, I'm back. So I went ahead and picked up all of my close quarters. These are assault. I almost said Centurions for some reason. These are just regular assault intercessors. This is really the first time I started doing heads instead of helmets. And if I remember right, most of these, like regular assault intercessors, took me about an hour each. This was when I was really starting to get comfortable with painting and like being able to do it a little bit quicker. I'm still not doing the best gold. Like my gold choice was not the greatest. If I remember right, it was a mixed batch. Oh, that's not a assault intercessor. I grabbed a regular intercessor by accident. We'll go over those later. As you can see, they're not super fancy. Again, they're not like veterans. So, oh my goodness, I hate dropping minis, and it scares me every time. So this is the one I accidentally just dropped. He is, oh man, I did not know how to really paint leather. I thought literally just throwing on some snakebite leather contrast was really a good job. This was another one I am pretty proud of, especially for a first. Well, that was like one of the 3 first faces. This was the first face. Actually, nope. Lieutenant Titus was the first face I ever painted. And such. So, I mean, these all took, I'll say, a total of 11 hours to paint, which is, I realize that's painting fast. Again, don't know why I made those all leather. Well, you know what? It's too late to worry about it now. Ow! I don't really like using blood effect on the Space Marines as much as I do on the World Eater minis I have. It's nothing against the Space Marine minis that I have, but it's just personal preference. Also, you know, World Eaters work for Khorne, the blood god. So here are the last 2 of those assault intercessors. Now, there's a reason why I showed off all these assault intercessors first. Because you're going to see the good chunk of my favorite Space Marine minis, not excluding like character minis. We will start with the first two sergeants. So obviously, Blade Guard veterans are the best, and anyone who says otherwise are liars. I am saying this as myself. These have upgraded helmets, and if I do another, I'm a child. If I do another Blade Guard veteran 6-man unit, it will have another sergeant with one of these upgraded helmets. This is originally how I did power swords before figuring out how to do them like this by accident. This one didn't turn out as great, but you know what? I still like them. They all still were really good. I'm really happy with how everything turned out. I'm really proud of how like the gold and the black stayed different on those Ultramarine logos, but we'll go ahead and move on to the rest of the Blade Guard vets. These were... I can't remember when I painted these. This one, I just finished putting on decals for. You can see that this sword turned out really well. I was really happy with that. Some of these are kind of a pain to deal with. I know I'm talking with the minis, like using the sword to paint it. The little skull things, I did a lot of those. I like colored in those eye sockets with black panel liner, wherever it is. It's here somewhere. I know it is. I swear if I spilt that, I'll be so upset. We won't show that one yet. So here's more. This is kind of a blend of trying to do that effect, but with two different colors. Again, this is before I started doing that, and before I used that black line panel stuff that I've talked about before. Two more. Wait, 1, 2. Am I missing some? No way. Oh, here's these two. Just nothing super special about them. That was the stuff that I do for these lines. Sometimes will leave residue behind. Doesn't work out too great. Let me squad these up. I'm missing one. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm missing a mini. Am I losing my mind? What is going on? 1, 2. I should have 3 from that, 3 from a box, 3 from another box. Okay, yeah, I've got 9. Okay, I'm sorry. I just can't count. So, I have 1 full squad. I need 3 more. It's been a while since I've really worked with a bunch of these. This is my like Blade Guard champion. He's obviously dual wielding power swords because it looks cool. And that is it for my close quarters. Next, we will go on to the battle line troops, and I will tell you some of these look pretty rough because a lot of them, well, half of them, are the first ever minis I ever painted. So actually, it'll be battle line and whatever pyre blasters are listed as. I don't remember if they're listed as battle line or not. So I'll see you in a second. All right. Well, he's on screen, so we'll start with this one. Next, we go into the flamers, pyre blasters. I'm sorry. Some of these are like starter minis, so you can see that this is not a transfer sheet, and neither is this. Those are actually hand painted on. This is the one that I'm very proud of, hand painting that split. That was kind of a pain to do. I painted these pretty early on in painting. These are obviously 3D printed, and then I painted them up. Go with the sergeant. Another foray into trying to figure out how to paint a face. He turned out pretty well, face-wise. More 3D printed helped. I'm sorry, I cannot speak. Holy crap. More 3D prints for helping these minis out. The minis are not obviously 3D printed, otherwise I would be known as a very high quality 3D printer. Um, Here's more. Now, I know there's going to be an odd number of these. That's because there was like a box of 3 that I got somehow, which is this is the third one of those. So these 3 in the back, well, I'm sorry, these 3 right here were part of box of 3 that I initially got, and I don't know why I got them. Honestly, I had the correct number, and now I don't, and now it bothers me. But that's okay, because I have more Pyre Blasters on the shelf of unpainted minis, otherwise known as the shelf of what's been completed, what's not been completed, to paint. So now we go on to the original stuff that I started painting with. Now, one of these minis will be new. Well, it'll be new and painted newly, so it won't look like the others. I want you to guess that one. I would have you guess which one you think my first mini would be, but I'm gonna save that one. That one's probably gonna be the last one. So you know the last one is not the one that I'm talking about. So here's one of the first. I did not know how to do leather at all. That's why I just left it black. I didn't I didn't know why that was studded and everything like that. So, and I was I decided to do guns very easily. So let's keep on going. Next one, the first, yeah, I don't know how that turned out the way it did. Some of these look pretty good for me knowing how I painted them. And honestly, they should not look that good. Oops. That guy stood back up. Sergeant. That this one is probably the worst. One of the worst painted ones. But you know what? I didn't care. This was one of the earlier painted ones because I could tell because of the way the paint is on the gold, on the trim. Why couldn't I think of that word? And I mean, he still looks good. I'm not ashamed. Everybody starts from somewhere. Here's the next one. This one turned out really good for being the first minis. That will be one of the very rare shin guards for the Space Marines. Not many shin guards. Oh, nope. I want to save that one for last. This is also like one of the first 5. I can tell exactly how it's one of the first 5 because I put it together and then didn't think of how I would paint back in there, so I didn't. And I just painted it blue and then tried to rub some gold in there. I mean, it's still fine to me. It's not the greatest mini, obviously. This is one of the first 3. Next one. Oops. This one accidentally got a sergeant's shoulder, I think, so I just painted it gold. I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just putting stuff together and painting. Got dirty boots. This one also turned out really halfway decent with the gold. I think this is when I was really starting to like try, like as in like, okay, I gotta slow down, take my time. There's no rush, because as you'll be able to tell from the first mini that I had, that it was a lot harder. This one looks good. It looks like I took a little bit more time on some stuff. Made this one look a little bit smoother. Now, second to last here is another sergeant. Again, I really didn't necessarily know what I was doing when I was painting these 10 original minis. I didn't look up guides. I didn't do any of that. I just went into it raw. No Google searching, no nothing. And you can tell by this next mini. This is my very first mini I've ever painted. I've talked about this mini multiple times. This shoulder is 3D printed because I didn't know how transfer sheets worked. So I was all like, oh, I got a 3D printer, I'll just print one out. And so I printed that. Obviously, the gold isn't super good. If I remember right, that's just Vallejo metallic gold. Yeah, gosh. It's got the grenade launcher, snakebite leather. I mean, it's so nice to see where you started and look at how good I got in just a mere matter of a month and a half. I mean, that's probably the difference between painting these minis and some people go back and repaint their original mini. I'll never do that. I always want to show, hey, this is where I started from. You can probably do better than this at start if you Google how to paint some minis. And I'm proud that this is my very first mini, even though it looks pretty jank, and how good my new minis look all the way up to my world eaters. So thank you for watching. I truly do mean it. If you like what you see, please leave a like behind. It helps me out. I don't know how. I do know it does help though. And if you're wanting to see more or listen to me talk about painting minis, you can either subscribe or you can go catch me live on the weekends at twitch.com. And I want to say thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.